I
Three,
am ready.
two, one. Welcome to the Lightforge. This is Oddbooked.
This is Merps, and today we have a very special guest. Definitely not new to the podcast. This is like his 10th billion time back, except it's a little bit different this time. But welcome back, Educated Collins. Thank you for coming on, man.
It's only the 6 billionth I counted, okay? And
I trust you're counting a lot more than our counting, man.
thanks for having me. Much appreciated. Always enjoy being here. So
All right. So, as you guys know, if you listen to the podcast, we have had Collins on many, many times to help explain the intricacies of Hearthstone Arena. This time, Collins comes as a more complete individual because he
what does
is
that
one.
mean?
Not only are you an arena master and former champion of Twitch Rivals Arena, you come as one of the top Battlegrounds players in the world. You actually held the #1 world spot for a while before you were gracious enough to let other people also enjoy this spot.
I shouldn't have played on Thanksgiving. I was in a food coma, and I lost like 1,000 rating that day, and it was not the smartest decision.
No, you were just in a giving mood, right? You could have crushed everyone, but in the spirit of Thanksgiving, you gave away some SR, and the other people on the leaderboards thank you for it.
Yeah, okay. We can go with that.
All right. So, Collins, obviously today we are going to talk about Arena in a little bit, but I want to start talking about BG because it's not every day that you get one of the top players in the game mode on your podcast. So, look, you're obviously real good at BG, but I want to go through sort of your history with auto battlers a little bit, because I know you have pretty extensive experience with them, right?
Yeah, I somehow I do. Yeah, now that I think about it.
Somehow. Okay, wait. So all of this began with auto chess, right?
Yeah,
Auto chess was
auto
sort of
chess, yeah.
the beginning. So you started playing that. Were you just immediately good at that?
No, I was. I would say average. I don't know what average is, but I wasn't. I wasn't that quite good. I played a lot with Shady, and Shady was actually like way better than I was at that game. I think he definitely put in the time, way more than I did. But he was the better player for sure in that game.
So when you played auto chess, and I've never played it before, like once you played that, did that sort of like spark your love of these kind of games? Did you?
It did for sure. That you got to see how fun that game mode is actually, and I think a lot of people also resonate with that game mode. It definitely blew up and kind of created a whole genre in itself. So you got to thank that one guy who did that thing because he caused a rift in the time space continuum that wasn't there before. So
It's pretty crazy, right? How like maybe in a few years, auto battlers will be just like how League of Legends and Dota was, in which it was just a mod from Warcraft 3.
Right.
It really is insane. So, did you go on from auto chess and play TFT or Underlords?
I watched Underlords, and I was like, I don't know why. But TFT, I was like, seems like my cup of tea. I actually stopped streaming Arena for a whole month and streamed exclusively TFT. So I dived deep into that game, and I did get Grandmaster, whatever the highest rating was at the time. So I did learn a lot about auto battlers in general from playing that game, and really digging into that one.
Okay, all right. So you were. It started with auto chess, and then you played TFT a little bit, and now we have Battlegrounds, the Hearthstone version of all of this stuff. So I've heard from Crip that there was an alpha testing period as well. Were you a part of that?
No, I just came on. I found out when everyone else found out. I was like, oh, cool.
Cool.
Let me play.
So you played and you jumped to like 5th really fast, right?
Yeah.
I remember you made that post, like complaining about the that was a 200 IQ play.
It was
complaint so that they fixed the SR such that you would get #1. Damn, man.
It had no, okay. The post had nothing to do about me. I didn't care. Who cares? I didn't care about me. It was like I imagined the future, people playing this game and realizing that they're stuck, and then because they're stuck and they want to climb, they realize it's futile and they stop playing. As well as anytime there's like a new patch or there's a new influx of players, uh, everyone's going to be weaker. So the people that have been playing will do better. And also, there was also an issue that if you made a new account,
Yeah.
uh, you could instantly climb the ranks and beat everyone else. And if you wanted to climb, that was the only realistic way of climbing. Just make new accounts until you get a lucky streak. As well as if you lost your first game, your account is screwed. Like you're never going to be able to catch up to someone who won like their first 3 games if you lost your first. So there was a lot of issues that I noticed with the MMR system that was currently implemented. So I thought to myself, okay, I can use my night and type this up, and I'm very glad that a lot of people resonated with that post, and I got to talk to some of the developers and speak my mind about that issue.
Nice. So, like, if you guys are wondering, this post came up very quickly after Battlegrounds came out, and then very quickly after that, Blizzard was like, "Yes, we're changing the MMR system." And then, like a week after that, the MMR system actually changed. This is like lightning speed for Blizzard in Hearthstone, and we're all very
I mean, it's
appreciative
pretty
of
similar to their changes for Arena, right?
Yeah,
They
right.
listen to us, and then within a week they change it all for the better of the community.
Uh,
No,
um,
but jokes aside, I think that was a really important moment for, like you said, the longevity of the game, and I think the popularity of the game right now. Your voice wasn't the only voice, but you lent a lot of credit to it because you were one of the people who is good at the game, who played the game the most, and then you posting that and a lot of people backing you up, I think really helped out the game because now I think a lot of people see the climb as a lot more legitimate, right? And it's a less of a feels bad kind of moment. Like Adulta, I know for you, when you were trying to climb, you made the quote unquote mistake of actually trying to learn the game at the beginning. So you didn't come in with
I
previous
jumped into
knowledge.
the game completely cold, like literally
Yeah,
knowing nothing about any auto battlers, and so I
and
dropped
wow,
down to
you
3,600. And when
yeah,
I
you were
came back
bad.
up, I eventually got to like when I was around 4,000, like when I climbed back up to 4,000, 4,200. Like at that point, I knew I was way better than everyone I was facing. I was getting number one and number two. Like I was averaging somewhere around number two or above number two even. And it was just 30 SR every single time I play, and I didn't play that much.
It's horrible.
It was great stomping on noobs, Collins.
No,
You took that away from me. You took away my credibility of saying, "Oh yeah, I'm way better than this." Clearly, like look how fast I'm climbing. And now they're actually having me close to my actual skill level, and I can't be like, "Who knows how good I am? I may be top 200. You'll never know."
You eliminated any excuse Adulta had. All right, that
Ah.
safety blanket is gone. Uh, but I
Although,
think
if
it
you're
was
looking at the SR system, even right now, like when I play like 6 hours, I climb somewhere between 200 to 400 rating points. Um, and I'm still climbing, but that's still really freaking slow. And when I take like I took Thanksgiving off, so like I played on Wednesday, and today's the next time I'm going to be playing. The top 200, like the bottom of the top 200, jumped by like 300 points. So that wiped away like all my progress of what I played earlier in the week. So to keep up, I did some math. To keep up with like the top 200 or any kind of like percentile base at the top, you have to play. So first of all, you have to be like good enough to be up there, obviously, but you also have to play at least like 2.5 to 3 hours a day.
I do think it will like even out at some point. I think right now we're still like discovering what is the top 200, but I do think it like not everyone's gonna hit 10K. Like I think there will be like some kind of state where you can see, okay, this is actually the 200. I just don't think it's there yet, so it probably takes a little bit more time.
I agree. I
Yeah.
was talking to Adulta about this, and right now there's a lot of fast movement. But as the top 200 gets further and further away from 6,500, which is sort of where the natural free low goes, right? So for those of you who don't know, below 6,500, there's always a push towards getting you a little bit higher. So
Okay, it's a
such
very
that
tiny push. It's like less than 5 points per match.
yes, but they do push you
Mhm.
towards there. So even if you are just playing perfectly
I
average
didn't know
for
that.
that SR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they made a post about it. But if you're playing perfectly average at SR, it will take you 300 matches to 500 matches to get to 6,500. Like if you
Yes.
Yeah, I have
continuously
more
trade
than
wins
that.
and losses.
Yeah,
I
I
have
mean,
more.
yeah. Oh, so Collins, what you're admitting on stream is that you were actually just pushed there with the
Yeah,
free Evo.
exactly. Yeah.
But yeah. So wow, we taught Collins something on this podcast. But yes,
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's sick.
anything below 6,500,
And that
you
wasn't in the system until they changed the MMR system. Like it didn't
yes.
start out that way.
So you have like the people that are below 6,500, you are always getting a slight bump up, like such that the let's say 50 points that you got when you were 6,000, you would not get that much like past 6,500. Even disregarding the algorithm, how they do it, you get a tiny bit of bump up below 6,500. But going back to sort of this whole change, I think it's done so much to really make BG into
And
what
I,
it is.
I bet there's like a opposite effect past 10K.
Yes, and more specifically, it punishes you the most, I'm sure. As world number one, I'm pretty sure they bumped you down even more than that. I'm gonna put my tin hat on. What do you think?
Nah, they wouldn't do that to me. Not to me. Nah.
All right.
Dude, my luck with hitting Lightfang or Brand today was abysmal. I must have hit like 25, 20 triples. I got Brand Lightfang like 3 times. Like, it was abysmal. It was like, damn, this isn't 42%, let me tell you that.
I feel like for
Wait,
this
what's
game,
42%?
You have a 42% to hit Brand or Lightfang if you go for the triple.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel
Well,
like it's
another
lower than
question
that,
is,
at least in my experience.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. That's how I
well,
feel.
are you getting there first, right? Because other
Right,
people might have
okay.
gotten there first and lowered your odds.
Wait, so when you're discovering a card, is it still from the pool?
It takes.
Oh,
It
I
takes.
believe
okay.
so.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I may not be the first
So,
one there.
You might.
I mean, I'm almost certainly not the first one there.
So if you're not the first one there, it also incentivizes you to be the first one there.
Right, that's fair.
Because if you are not the first one there, instead of 42%, it might be like 35%, it might be like 30%, it might be like 20% if you're the last one there and people have golden ones already. So
it feels like 15, 10%.
Oh my gosh. But all right. So Collins, let's use you as a resource here. Like as someone who is recognized as one of the best BG players in the world, what makes you so good, man? Like, what makes you so freaking good at the game?
First of all, I spent a lot of time with the game, right? Like I've played more than most. Second of all, like I am like, I'm a good player at games. I just want to throw that out there. Like any game you toss at me, that's like, card based or strategy based, right? I'll do decently. So, third of all, I kind of, I'm more of an instinctual player. I'm really good at like reacting to like different situations that they toss at me. So I might see lines that other people don't see, right? Just because um they're not looking, they don't open it as a possibility. And I'm also fairly safe of a player. I really like the early game heroes. I really like, heroes that won't finish last. So I try my best not to be last, right? So it's not that I win every match or I, perform better than other players. It just might be that I don't bottom out as often as other like players on a similar skill level, and that might be the difference. But there's probably a lot of factors that I'm doing that I might not be able to articulate correctly. But if you watch, you'll think to yourself, "Oh, I wouldn't have done that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's new, right?" And those little things, those small things, probably all add up to like a pointage, or half a percent, or maybe like even multiple percentage chances on every turn that I have a better chance to win or do something. So there's probably a lot of factors, but I think those like cover the base.
I like how you categorized it, and I totally agree. I think you're a very instinctual player. So your play style, I would put closer to, let's say, like Hafu's play
Mhm.
style, because I think she's a very instinctual player as well.
Yeah.
Because I've asked you about, back when we all played Arena. I remember I've talked to you about Arena, and I would talk to someone like Hafu about Arena as well, and I would ask you guys to explain something, and like both of you guys would explain, just be like, I don't know, just good. It's like it just feels good. You know what I mean? Like, what was our conversation?
You do it and you win the
Squashling.
game. Come on.
Remember our conversation about squashling? I like tried to get you a billion times. I'm like, okay, can you explain why this is good? You're just like, it just wins, man. It's like it just wins. It's so great. I'm like, okay, but Collins, can you tell me more specifically why it's so good? Like, how are you using it? You're just like, I don't know. You just use it. You heal. You annoy the other guy, and you just win as priest. I'm like, oh my god,
That sounds
man.
like me.
That sounds exactly like you, because that's exactly how you respond to things. But this is also why I've been working around your stream a lot, and I've been trying to learn in Battlegrounds, because I think it is very important to sort of open yourself up to these new styles as well. I think some people are extraordinarily analytical. I would say Just Saying, right, who you just faced in Battlegrounds. Whenever I watch his stream, it's extraordinarily analytical. He does a great job explaining things, and that's the type of player he is. And then uh, uh, there's your stream, in which sometimes, like you said, you'll do something I don't really get.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll be like, huh. And to you, I don't know if internally you have this clear cut plan, or you just feel right. You just sort of feel it's like, oh, I think this is correct based on your 1,000 games.
Yeah, it's something like that. There's a plan, but then there's also like the percentage chance for this play is higher. So since the percentage chance in my head is higher, I go for it.
So it's been really interesting. I've been watching a ton of Battlegrounds, and it's really cool seeing the different styles. And I've sort of lumped them together. Like I would say that Just Saying and also, for example, Dog are more of the analytical type, and then you and Hafu are more like feel based players. And I think it's come from their all of your previous Hearthstone experience as well. It's sort of how you guys play Hearthstone generally. So that's really cool, and I like the fact that you categorize it that way, because I was like, oh, I've always seen it this way. All right, so you played a lot, and also you've established that you're kind of just a badass, and you're kind of just good at games. But now let's give the audience something that they can really take home with them, that they can apply. You are coaching Twitch chat. All right, you are
What?
coaching the
Oh god,
right.
guys, there's no hope.
All right, look, you have to do it. You have to coach him, all right? You got to coach him. Give us some pro tips for people that will immediately improve their SR. What do you tell them?
The first tip is make a new account.
Wait, I thought they fixed the MMR more or less.
I know, but like if you're like still at 4K, like just make a new one. Like honestly, you'll climb faster, because those first games you still have a boost, right? Positioning, in terms of, I think a lot of people mess up positioning. They are getting better. Usually people have one or two taunts, and then they're usually amalgams. They have divine shield. You put them in the back, unless everyone has poison. Then sometimes you want to get the attack in. If they don't have poison, you can get your attack in. But learn positioning. That's the tip, because I can't.
Okay, but how?
You
Coming
that,
from
Alexa?
someone who is very bad at positioning, but how?
Right. Sorry, don't coach Twitch chat. Coach
Advocate
right now.
I am right here. I'm a 6,500 player, still climbing. I feel like I got a lot of the stuff down besides like bad heroes. I really don't know how to play bad heroes. I like bottom out frequently with bad heroes.
Yeah, same here.
And my positioning is, well, I also rope quite frequently, but that's not something you can really help with.
Everyone ropes. I mean, like Colin sometimes still ropes.
Oh no, I mean like multiple times on average a game.
Oh, that's true. You
So
went
for
more.
everybody out there who's like, oh my god, why am I not getting to like 6,500? You can do it while like missing a whole bunch of your turns. Like it's not, it's like I also played on Brand New's account over Thanksgiving. Who she's at like around 4,000. That's the difference between 4,000 and 5,000. Between 5,000 and 6,000 is like so huge, night and day. Like we were playing on mobile on a crappy internet connection that literally had a 2 second lag of every move we made. And I was coaching her. So that was the amount of delay that happened. We almost never used all of our coins. And we consistently placed first or second.
Oh,
Like,
It's kind of unfair that people actually play this game on mobile because it's like you're playing an FPS and joining the people that are playing consoles
yes.
versus
No,
like
exactly.
keyboard
That's
and mouse
exactly what
players.
it's like. As soon as I saw the experience on mobile, I'm like, wow, I thought I would never play this game on mobile, but now I'm definitely sure. Like, you better be real quick with everything to be playing on mobile.
Yeah, no, it really does feel like it's like you're playing CS and someone has like an old Mad Catz controller, right? And then everyone else has like $1,000 keyboard and mouse setup.
Yeah.
But okay, right. So
Yeah, okay, so yeah, so coach me on positioning. So what do I put on
yes.
the ignore the stuff on the right first. Let's talk about the stuff on the left. I struggle
Okay,
more with
so
the stuff on the left. So first you put
the
something
first
that hits the divine shield, right?
yeah,
Like
so it can be anything, you like a life fang or just whatever leftover
yeah.
minion that doesn't. Usually you don't. Sometimes you can put like death rattle stuff. It's death rattle stuff is interesting if your opponent has multiple divine shielded like amalgams, right?
Mhm.
Because then you have the first one, and then it summons something else, and then you can use that second piece to like hit the other divine shield. It's like 50-50, but
So you're
you still have
constantly
that
keeping
chance.
track of how many of your opponents have multiple divine shield taunts.
No, usually that's like top three or something. Like
Okay,
then
so
you
when you get
start
to
keeping
top
track.
three, it's viable to put the divine shield, to put a either divine shield or death rattle minion first, or to just like if you have like a brand and a light fang, to put those two both first.
You usually always want something to be able to pop divine shields because usually people run amalgams with the Noyo module,
Mm-hmm.
right? So with poison,
Yep.
of course, yeah. So you just want something to pop it. Then you have something to kill the amalgams. Usually you want a poison minion second,
Mm.
just so that you can one shot whatever taunt they have, you know. So it doesn't matter the size of them. So it because of that, you kind of also don't want to make your biggest minion taunt because people learn to just put the poison second and will just destroy it. If you have your biggest minion taunted, that's when you run another taunt, right? So that poison minion might hit the other taunt, and then the rest of the minions can just like ram into your gigantic minion if you run like double taunt and things like that. Third, I like cleave third, especially if they're only running one taunt, right? You kill their taunt, then you can actually cleave. If they're running multiple taunts, then sometimes you might put the cleave first just because like it's your cleave is not going to do much. You might even
Mm-hmm.
put your cleave like fourth or fifth if you're like super risky, right? Because at that point your cleave can get chunked by your opponents. Like they will get through your taunts and it might get chunked, but sometimes it doesn't, and you wipe them. So there's a little risk there. And you also have to see if your opponents have like double taunts together or whatever their setup is. And then fourth and fifth and sixth, right? You usually have like your filler minions, your big stuff there. Um, you can position them like strongest to weak, or you can position them weakest to strong. If like you have like multiple poisons,
Mm-hmm.
you put the weakest in front because those will like kill random like gigantic minions, and you're left with your super strong minions at the end.
So when you
So
say strong, you just mean health.
health, yeah, just
Okay.
health, yeah, exactly. And then sometimes you'll have like a annihilator,
Mm-hmm.
just like near the end
Yep.
because you don't want it to hit the poisons, right? Things like that. So if you have like
Okay,
broken
so
minions,
start out with one or like with one guy that hits for no damage, or a divine shield guy that hits for no damage, or a death rattle guy that hits for basically like one or two guys that hit for no damage, followed by
yeah,
poison, followed
yeah,
by your other stuff, but like
yeah.
that deal the most damage to the least damage. Or like start with the lowest health and go to the highest health. You said.
You want to it depends, right? It's not like, of course everything depends, but you
Like assuming you don't have a read on anybody, right? Like assuming you just got to like the final 4 or 5 and you never
you
faced
want
any of them.
you want your minions to be able to one shot anything they face up
Mm-hmm.
against, but you also want a problem at the end that they can't deal with.
Okay.
So if you have poison minions, it's very easy, right? Because your poison minions one shot everything, so you can always put them next, and then you can leave your problem minion at the end. But if you don't have poison minions, right, then you don't want to have to ram every single one of your minions into like a gigantic amalgam,
Right.
right? You want to be able to like kill the amalgam in like 1 or 2 hits. So you don't want to put um super weak things in there. You want to be able to chunk and then it's dead. So usually you want strong things, and that's why poison's really good, because you can put a whatever, like a 210 poison in front, and that will kill like a 50-50 amalgam, and that's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh. So,
Okay.
and then if you don't have like a poison and you have like a 25-25, a 30-30, and like, a 10-10, you may as well like put the 30-30 and the 20-20 and then the 10-10, just because you want those amalgams to die, and then you'll still have the 10-10 over. Because if you put the 10-10 first into that 50-50, the 10-10 will die, the 20-20 will die, the 30-30 will die,
Mm.
right? Where if you put the 30-30, 20-20, then those two will kill the 50-50, and you'll still have that 10-10 left over. So if you had a poison, then you could just put the poison there, and then you could still run the gigantic minions and still have those alive.
Okay. So typically you prefer to go scaling like high, like assuming no you don't have poisons, or you're dealing with only your minions that don't have the poisons. You're going with
Yeah,
highest attack, then second highest, then third highest, like roughly,
yeah,
right?
but yeah,
Rather
but
than rather than staggering the attack, like a high attack one, a low attack one, a high attack one, a
no,
low
no,
attack one.
you want the highest attack ones,
Okay.
but you still, it's like, that's why having like a junk bot or annihilator at the end is nice,
Yep.
because those are like, let's say your big minions die, you still have that annihilator like finishing off whatever is left over, or
Mm-hmm.
you still have like a junk bot at the very end killing off whatever is left over. So it's nice to have that, like, the final issue, that final problem as well.
Yeah, and I think obviously, Adulto, you want to know sort of general things. I would say the further right you move along, the less the attack is important, and the
Mm-hmm.
more extra consideration slash defense becomes important, right? So it's like your positioning at the right becomes more about your own cleave protection. It's like, where am I positioning these things with replicating menaces such that my 45 attack guardian regains its shield advantageously, and perhaps, like, gets knocked into a couple of times with the shield on.
Yeah,
So it's like, I would say, like, obviously the first, second, and third unit from the left are, you should think of it as purely an offensive mindset. But as you move down the line, it's like that, how you consider the offensive uh, considerations for those becomes a lot less significant than how you view those units defensively, as in like cleave protection, refreshing shields, and they become even more so like utility minions, or like a big bomb at the very end. At least that's how I look at it.
yeah, and there's some minions that like completely change how you position, like Baron Riftdale, right? You have to put that at the end, and
Mm-hmm.
then with Gas Coiler, things like Zap, you put the Zap the first thing, because like you want that to like snipe a junk bot. There aren't as much junk bots these days, but back then you'd put that first, and then it kill the junk bot before they get to grow, and things like that. Mama bears, you want them safe, just like pack leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
The jugglers, the soul jugglers, right? You
Mm-hmm.
want those at the very end, right after all the demons die. So those, there's little like units that kind of change how you position, but generally that's one of the ways to position, at least in my stream.
Cool. All right. So, Adam, so you're a positioning master now, right?
Yep.
No, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm-hmm. Yep. Done.
it comes
Done.
from experience, right?
I just downloaded how many hours of experience, Collins?
A lot. Whatever
a
lot is.
unspeakable amount of Battlegrounds experience right now in this podcast. You'll see.
Way
After this
too much
episode, I'll be playing some
Battlegrounds.
Battlegrounds. I will not make a single positioning mistake.
That's you have my blessings.
All right, so Collins, obviously positioning is important. Give us another tip to immediately raise Twitch chat's SR by 3,000 points, so they can get to 3,100.
Learn the different comps, right? They're like the light fan comp is like, and the brand comp are the most common. But learn to know when to go to beasts, learn to know when to go demons, lol, demons. I mean, but still learn that. Learn to go mechs, right? Learn to go the death rattle stuff, learn to go murlocs, right? There's multiple compositions that you can run, and a lot of people like force Lightfang every time, and if they don't get it, they die. They're eighth, right? Like that's a little disturbing. You know, and also the heroes, right? Learn the heroes as well, right? Daryl is like the hardest to play, but has one of the most highest payoffs. Like learn how to do the turn 2 Yogg with token. You don't have to level on turn 2 with Yogg if you have a token, right? And you have that in your repertoire, you know, things like that. Know the try to learn some of the heroes that maybe you don't play up. You know, the Sindragosa freeze every turn kind of strategy. So just a couple little things that you might not know with some of the heroes, just to how to take advantage of Elise and things like that. George, you know, those small little heroes that are actually playable, like learn to maximize them, and that might help you. Secret guy, right? A lot of people wrote him off, but he's actually really strong in the right hand. So those things would also help a lot.
Collins, I've never been as tilted as I was in one game in which we were heads up and he found ice block 4 turns in a row. Okay?
Who, me?
No. It wasn't against you. Otherwise, I wouldn't have you on this podcast. No, I was facing someone else, and it was literally 4 times in a row. And
he got strong enough.
The 5th time he actually beat me, and then the 6th time I beat him, and then that ended the game. But that was an extra half hour of my life that I want back. Okay, I can't do that again.
See, that's why I like the secret guy. You could just stall forever and get like third or
something. Yeah, I had a game where I had like a light fang, and I was like losing I lost like multiple games. So I think I used ice block 3 or 4 times that game, and I was definitely going to die. And I got to 1 HP, right? And I skilled with the life fang, and I popped off, and then I started killing everybody. And I was like, oh, you know, if I didn't have this ice block, I would have lost like super hard. But it saved me. So definitely has some upside with him.
Okay, any tips on how to like just not die when you're playing like George? Or any other hero that doesn't have anything relevant going on in the early game?
No, I don't have a tip. I think that's like one of the biggest factors. If you're playing George or Nefarian or someone without early game, and you're fighting like 4 or 5 people with early game, you're screwed. You're actually just screwed. Like, so if you face AFK, I rest your post. Gerald with token start, you know, Bran, I'm sorry for you. You know, if you're fighting these folks, a curator as well, Rat King and Yogg.
Okay, that's like everybody you face.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem at the highest elo. Everyone is running the early game domination. So the whole lobby is early game domination. And so all of your matches are super brutal. And if you're playing George and Nefarian is like, has like, you can use the ability is super like very early if you're like super behind. Where George, you're actually screwed. So that's why Nefarian have that like a little bit rated higher, because you can actually start using your hero power like actually early. Where with George, if you're fighting like the early game heroes and everyone popped off, like let's say Daryl like popped off to be like the brand, and then the Rat King like beats the Daryl, and then Daryl's like, "Oh, let me catch up." Right? You're absolutely screwed. You're so because everyone is like like using their early game to the max, and you have nothing. So you're losing every single battle unless you fight Nefarian, and you're like, "Oh, like we tied." Right? But then you come back, AFK is like dealing 11 damage to you, and you're like, "Oh my god," and it's over. So I think that's the biggest risk of using those champions, especially in the high MMR lobbies. Everyone is using the early game heroes, and you're absolutely dumpstered. So that's why, like at the beginning of the game, everyone thought Nefarian was the best hero. I didn't think so, but everyone else thought Nefarian was the best hero because you could get away with you could reach the early game.
Yeah.
Without people punishing you as hard.
Yeah, it's
but now
great
that
in the
everyone
lower
is,
lobbies.
yeah, now that everyone is established and knows how to really maximize their heroes, you absolutely you lose every time. You can't beat that early game advantage, and everyone in the lobby is running that early game advantage. So you're losing every single match, and you get out early. So a lot of games I see Nefarian, I see George, I see Toki, I see Bartendron. Those people just die super quickly, and I'm like, I'm not surprised.
It's true. You talk about high MMR lobbies, and look, I mean, Collins, I'm obviously not where you are, but my SS. So right now I'm 157 on NA, which is respectable.
That's high MMR.
It's high enough such that I consistently get into the high MMR lobbies. And so if you guys aren't aware, if you watch streams, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's not only a set meta because the top people play the same way. It is literally the same people over and over and over.
Yeah, we're fighting each other. I'm fine. Yeah, we're
Collins, how many times have we faced each other and just like I'm obviously not trying to snipe you. Like I'm not purposefully trying to get into the same game with Collins here, okay? This is definitely
not conducive to your climb.
Yeah, it's not great for my climbing. But God, during the past 2 weeks, if we're gonna stretch it that long, I faced Chalky more than 10 times. I faced you probably like 5 or 6 times, but it's mostly because you don't like play so much at night during those times. I faced Crip, oh my God, how many times? Because he plays at night. Just saying, Dog, Hafu, same people over and over and over again. And the people that don't stream, like I can name so many people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know like all of them by now. Like if you were to queue up into a game, it's the exact same people. So when you talk about an aggressive meta, I'm like, yeah, it's the exact same people playing the same way. And on Saturday, I played a game with George. I got 7th place, and it was only because someone else was playing Pyramid. And no, I had a good start too. I went from tokens into turn 3 double amalgam, which is, I mean, really good, right?
Really good,
but I faced Bran into Curator, into AFK, into Daryl after he popped Daryl. And then suddenly, when everyone else is floating around 35 health, I was at like 18.
Yeah, exactly.
And at that point, it was literally like, okay, I can't tech up. I just
you have to play defensively, but then everyone else is hitting their breakpoints, hitting the light fang, and you're like, I'm gonna die if I level here. So let me just run max or beast or whatever until they kill me.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so my strategy at that point, I'm like, okay, I can't afford to go to tier 3. I'm just gonna buy all of the Cobalt Guardians and Replicating Menaces, and I'm never gonna tech, and I'm gonna die slower than other people. And I beat Pyramid. I'm just like salvaged, so good.
Because both of you are running no hero power.
Yeah,
you guys are exactly the same. Sometimes with Nefarian, you guys are you can't hero power because you need to use that go to roll or whatever. Right? That's the issue with the late game hero. Sometimes you're basically you're playing a hero with no hero power. So you might have Nefarian, one of the strongest, but if you're getting punished super early and you're down to like 13 by the time you can start hero powering, do you really have a hero power at that point? No.
Yeah,
you're dead.
At least with Neff, I totally agree. Even in the mid game, sometimes a slightly early mid game, if you're feeling like you can do it. you can start doing it, and I was able to
Yeah,
salvage your game. Yeah,
Neff's like the only exception,
yeah,
like that's why he's a tier above, right? But all the other ones, Shutterwalk,
yikes.
you know what I mean? Like it's not happening. It's not happening where you Ragnaros dead. It's that's the issue.
Yeah. So I also have an advice, and Collins, obviously, feel free to expand on this. But I think one mistake that people make a ton when they're trying to climb is they don't let the game naturally come to them, right? I think a lot of people are uncomfortable going directionless for quite a while, which happens the majority of the time. Actually, the game doesn't just give you all the Murlocs, all the demons, all of the mechs at the same time. So
I mean, even if they gave you all the demons, maybe hold back a little bit.
well, you feel pretty good about like crushing everyone in the early mid game, right? You literally crush everyone if you get the Soul Weavers.
That's true. I think demons can hit top 4 if you get like double Soul Juggler. I think you get double Soul Juggler.
I agree. But I think people, even when they think that there is a direction, they start forcing it a little bit hard. And I think one of the biggest differences between sort of the mid-level MMRs and the top MMRs is I know for the top players, you guys really appreciate, and I've gotten to really appreciate stuff like Spawn of N'Zoth, right? It's a great minion. It's one of the best minions for the early mid game and even into the solid mid game as well, where you buy it. It's obviously not part of any tribe, but you look at it, it's 8/8 worth of stats, right? It's like a ping plus sort of like more stats onto the board as well, which can make a huge difference with all of your divine shields and everything.
Because we've all been fighting each other, right? We all get like, if you don't respect the early game and figure out what units are absolutely busted in the early game, you get destroyed. So there's a lot of units like, oh, they don't really match well, but like Kaboom Bot is like it pings and then it does the 4.
It's so good.
Right? Really good. Sometimes you can use the Direwolf Alpha, even like randomly, you can put it next to like double taunt, right? Like sometimes you get like the Righteous Protector and the Direwolf, and then you have a 2/1 Divine Shield. Oh, it's actually not a horrible thing. There are times where you'll like use Wrath Reaver for like a couple of turns just because it's stronger than whatever. Making sure you're abusing like the Death Rattle stuff. You put the Rat Pack, you get the Rat Pack, then you get the Hyena. Now you have you get 2 Rat Packs, and this Hyena actually wins you the game for the early game until you get to the late game. So there's a lot of like little things, even though you're absolutely not beast. You just have the Rat Pack and Hyena just to carry you, right? Making use of the Leopard, making use of the Seer, making use of the Zubat, those little things to get those extra buffs so that you're stronger than your opponent. All these little tactics to win the early game. A lot of the high MMR players really hammer it down. So you think you're strong. You think you're strong.
I know.
And then you hit somebody and they're like, how did they get this composition? Turn 6 in the game. You think the game is started. They're like so strong. You're like, oh, this guy did exactly the perfect flow of events to get this absolutely busted composition here. And now I'm gonna take it in the butt. It's like that happens very often because they're very attuned to that.
So Collins, I need to point out something specifically because I know ever since your channel has blown up, congratulations by the way on that. Ever since your channel has blown up, like I lurk a lot, and every half hour or so, people will just be like, "Just get Lightfang and win, lol," and then you'll sort of like die a little bit inside. You're just like, "Okay, it's not that easy." like it's not that easy. Like people at this elo, when you're facing up with Tides and Dog and Chalky and all of these people that are really, really good, it's like they are playing so optimally that even if I get Lightfang, it gives me a chance, like a better chance.
Well, see. You should look at the number of people who are 8th with Lifefang in my lobbies.
Ooh,
Like
ooh,
That's
ooh,
me. That's
ooh!
me.
I'm not in
it's
your lobbies, but that happens to me a lot.
it's so common. You're like, oh, I've got the Lifefang. I can take a break. I'm gonna win. I am dead. Like it's so often you slack off because you hit the life bag, and everyone is like, I don't have life bag, but I'm gonna abuse like death rattle or something to make you take 200 damage in this turn, and you're just like, no, if I had more, no, you're dead. It's very common. You can't really you can't slack. Like I think like there are some lobbies when no one hits anything, and you're doing really well with like some ragtag composition. But if you get like if you have a dog, if you have dog in your lobby, it's like everyone plays harder, or maybe it's just me in the lobby or something. Like I don't know.
You're a big target now, man.
It literally feels like everyone is like playing so like with like all of their brain cells or something to find the line that makes them incredibly strong. So Light Fang doesn't mean anything really. It just gives you the potential to be like top 6, if you don't die instantly. Which
Yeah. No, the game is so incredibly tough at the highest levels. And I've definitely seen that so many times where I'm like, man, I am pretty strong here. The game has been favorable to me. Bless RNG. I have double amalgams. I even found like 2 fast Anoia modules. Everything's good. And then I just get smacked. I'm just like, how do you have double tier 6 units on like already? How did you get all of the basically they face what I did with Patchwork with the Murlocs? You know what I mean? Like just a disgusting amount. But it makes the game fun. It still makes
it does. It does.
makes the game incredibly fresh. But anyways, going back, so yeah, definitely value tempo plays and be comfortable with not having a direction for a while. Like I know some people get really itchy. They're like, whoa. I'm like deep into tier 3, even starting tier 4, and I don't have a great direction. Like not all 7 of my units are in one tribe. And it's like, be comfortable with that. And also learn when to quote settle for a unit such as a crowd favorite, right? Or to quote settle for just buying a piloted sky golem, even though you're definitely not mech. You just want the stats, or a siege breaker just for some stats in the mid game.
If you're looking at tier 3 or tier 2, like there's just not that many endgame units there. You're very likely not to get any endgame units there anyway.
Beasts,
there's
like definitely.
There's like a couple beasts, right? You have your amalgam, you got your one guardian mech, and that's kind of it.
A pogo, you got your pogo.
Okay. You have your pogo, which here to here, Educated Collins recommends you take the pogo for your endgame minions. So you're going to cycle them out anyway. That's why I never after the initial first I'm like, oh, I don't know how Battleground works. Then I'm like, oh, you clearly just match stuff. It's like match 3 and make a tribe easy. And then I was like, wait, that's not all that important. And you shouldn't feel too attached to your early game minions. They're all getting kicked to the curb.
Just be like Adukta, cold, calculated, and never positioned. that's just play like Adukta all the time.
Hey, 6,500 and still climbing and still roping. This is
Twitch chat. That means you guys have no excuse, okay? If Adukta can do it while not reading the cards, while having the boomerest of boomer APMs, while never positioning, then you have to be able to do it. No excuses. Okay.
What really surprises me is because I've played and I've watched all these different MMRs, these ratings bands in Battlegrounds. Just the difference is so huge.
There's a big stratification.
Yeah, yes. But you can jump from 6,000 to 6,500 in a handful of good games, right? But you're then in a totally insanely different meta.
Yeah, and then you'll drop back down. Right?
Yeah. So you would think that with such fluid rating movements, it'll be kind of a mess, or things are kind of similar-ish when you're within a band of I don't know, a few hundred or 1,000 MMR. But it's It's not like that at all. You go a few hundred MMR up or down, and you're in a totally like different skill level.
I think this is where it's sort of proof that it's the MMR system is okay right now.
Yeah.
Like just talking about my recent experience. So about a week ago, I went up to 7,300 MMR, and then I did a lot of wild experimenting. And by a lot, I mean 2 hours worth of experimenting with like Pyramid, with patches, with really greedy timing, and suddenly in the
Rest in
blink of an
peace.
eye, I'm back to 6,700. But I'm like, okay, let's see
I've
if
been
I'm
above that
actually...
MMR before.
Yeah.
That's how bad that MMR is.
And then Adwicto, who was at 6,000, and he began climbing up to like 6,500, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm getting pretty close to 6,700." I was like, "Okay, this like this is like getting a little bit serious here. I can't be that close to Adwicto." And I'll be like, "Okay, no more experimenting. Let's just climb." And in the span of one stream, I was able to climb from 6,700 to 7,200, and then the next day I played for 3 more hours, and then went from 7,200 to 7,522, which is where I'm at right now. And then it's sort of like you see the stratification, but if you want to climb and you honestly believe your skill is higher than where it should be, then you will climb. And
That's
now
crazy. This game, like in all seriousness, Battlegrounds feels like it has less RNG than Arena.
It does. It
does.
does. It has less RNG than it, which is so weird to say.
It's so weird. And here's the thing. I think some people out there will listen to this and be like, "You got to be kidding me. It's all RNG."
We're like deep Arena players. We know Arena. You're talking to like 3 people who have sunk so many freaking hours into Arena and have at various points been at like the very top of the game. And we're all sitting here saying, look, this Battlegrounds game mode is just, if you take an Arena runs, 2 hours? Like, and you play 2 hours of Battlegrounds, you're going to get a vastly, I think it's a quite significant lower amount of RNG than Arena. Like, you compare, I don't know, 2 Battlegrounds matches compared to 1 Arena run, or like 3 Arena runs to 6 Battlegrounds matches.
It's pretty insane. But yeah, I agree. And Collins, you seem to strongly agree with this, right?
Strong is a strong word, you know.
Oh, sorry, too strong. But you agree with it.
I generally agree. Yeah. There's definitely the amount of RNG in Battlegrounds can be like very controllable, especially in the end game where in Arena sometimes you just lose, especially with the box. The Yogg box leaves a very bad taste in my mouth, man. That stuff was not healthy. But there were definitely some games in Battlegrounds where it's like top 3 or top 2, right? I fight them once, I lose that game, I see their composition, I change up my positioning, my composition. Next 3 games I beat them, you know, and I take them out. So that lets you know that, okay, I saw the issue, I saw their composition, I analyzed it, and I found a solution in one turn. You know, like that's pretty cool. Something you can't really do in Arena. If you have like a losing board state, you're dead. Like there's no amount of, you know, there's not much you can do to kind of salvage that kind of situation. So
yeah, your biggest dice roll in the Arena, and it stays with you your entire game, is your draft. And that's a much bigger impact than your biggest decision in Battlegrounds in the very beginning, which is which hero you select.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, overall, right? Like, there's so many. Your odds of getting a good hero out of 3 is pretty high.
Dude, you think so, but today, oh boy, today has not been good on that hero selection. Anyways, you're right.
I feel like the answer to that will be a day-to-day sort of different.
Hell yes.
Based on, it's like, oh, Collins, what do you think of Battlegrounds? It's the best game ever. It's so fair.
It's so
it's like you know, they give Lightfang to the most deserving and skilled players, which is me. And then other days it'd be like, so Collins, how's Battlegrounds? Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me.
I see you've been watching the stream.
I have been watching a lot of your streams.
Oh man, that's what happens.
All right. So
It's a perfect time to ask this because I think it's fair to say Battlegrounds is not a perfect game, which I think we would all agree on.
For sure.
So, Collins, you have complete control over Blizzard for a day. What do you change about Battlegrounds? Whatever you want to change. Let's leave out the sort of adding and adding in new minions because that opens up a whole new can of worms. But what do you change about Battlegrounds?
Okay, well, that's an open-ended question.
It is.
Okay, first I'm deleting some of the characters.
Okay, which
Literally,
ones?
all the ones I have in my D tier, they're just gone from the game.
Sorry,
we
Pure
can
Mad.
we can add the ones that were removed or whatever, but I don't want to ever see these guys. I would fix them. I wouldn't delete them. I would probably fix them. I would make a lot of them passives. All the good heroes have passive abilities, or you could make them zero cost abilities that you can use once a turn, or refresh. Like if Finley's ability costs 0, and then like if you sell, you could reuse it. Right? That's like kind of balanced. I would make Lich King's ability targeted, so it doesn't have to be in the last place. You could target it wherever, any place, and then you could trigger. Same thing with Putricide. If Putricide's 10 attack could be anywhere, so you could put the cleave on the third round, and that'd actually be like pretty respectful, I think. I don't know what I would buff Patches and Ragnaros and make them do 3 times. People keep suggesting that, and I think it's actually kind of interesting. So Rag would deal 8 3 times instead of 2. Patches would deal 3 times instead of 2.
I think you should scale that by the tier, by the tavern tier, by either your tavern tier or your opponent's tavern tier.
Ooh.
I don't
Because early game, otherwise it's crazy strong.
So you're saying it would deal 8?
It would deal 8 to 1, and then deal 8 to 2, and then deal 8 to 3 by the end game.
So, no, you mean but if you had Tavern tier 6, it would deal 6.
It would deal 3.
What about on Tavern tier 1 and 2? It's 1.
Yeah.
Tavern tier 3 and 4,
like
it's 2 targets. And starting from Tavern tier 5, which I think.
No, because already Ragnaros on Tavern tier 3 is already dying.
This buff doesn't help enough.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything. I don't think that's actually relevant. I would just make it 3. I would make them super good in the early game.
That's so tilting though. You're just facing AFK repeatedly. I know whenever I face Rag on turn 3 when Rag has that 5 mana and it's awkward and they buy a minion.
Maybe Rag will start getting used. You know what I'm saying?
But I don't want to see that in the game.
Well, I just because they are just useless right now. I would buff them. I would buff them, I would find all the D tier heroes. I'd find something for them. Okay, so another thing I think is really important: amalgam to 3, Tavern tier 3. The busted thing with amalgam Tavern tier 2 is Overseer. You can go amalgam into Overseer and have a 5/6 amalgam. And then same you go amalgam into Cold Seer. There's so much buffs on 2 that just make amalgam OP as hell. It's already one of the best units, and then you can buff it instantly on turn 3. You find amalgam and Overseer. Turn 3 you have a 5/6 amalgam. 2/4, let's go. It's you've won the early game. So if you move it to 3, it's a lot more of a decision. I mean, you still pick it up, but it's more of a okay, I have to work on this unit now that I found it, instead of okay, I just buff it immediately from the beginning of the game. So that'd be a small change. Another big thing I would do is all death rattle stuff. All minions that come out of a death rattle deal 1, no matter what minion it is. It always deals 1.
Yeah.
There is the death rattle composition is so busted in that you are you barely win. You you killed all of their minions except for their Baron Rivdale and their one Ghost Collider or whatever it's called, and you deal 67 damage or 27 damage because that Ghost Collider summons 5 or 4 tier 6 minions. Okay, and now you're taking it. It doesn't make sense. The Baron Rivdale survived. Okay, you take the 5. And then the Death Rattle minions, okay, they all deal 1. You're taking 15, which is a little bit more manageable. You don't die from 30 HP. All death. And then okay, you're playing AFK. Right, this happens actually.
I have my own story with that on
You're
turn 3.
You're playing AFK
On turn 3, they
Yes.
have a Sky Golem and a Khadgar.
Oh my, that's exactly what happened to me.
They trade into
Oh
the
God.
Sky Golem. Oh, look what pops out. It's a freaking Gentle Megasaur. Oh, look. He also has a token. Now you're taking 6, 1, and 3, plus their Tavern tier 2.
17.
17
It's 17.
damage
Yep.
on turn 3. That's so stupid. The game is over for you. The game is, you can't recover. Like, you have to play so scared from that point on that there's no way you're going to be able to create a composition good enough to win the game. On turn 3, your game is over. Like, that's so stupid. If it dealt, generally, if the Megasaurs dealt, you take 10 less damage. So you take 7. You take 7 instead of 17. Right, that's a lot more manageable. Okay, sure. It's AFK on turn 3. It's 7. I don't care too much about that. I mean, you do care a little bit, but it's way better than taking half of your life on the 3rd round of the game before you've even started playing. Just like that. I hate that.
Colin's not a fan of taking 17 damage on turn 3. Please fix Blizzard.
What happens to my opponent? I feel their pain, so I would definitely change that as well. In terms of I would look at Bran, the unit, potentially busted. I don't think I would change poison, or people keep asking me about, is poison too easily accessible? Whatever. Like, it is what it is. I'm not super like mad at that. I would tell the audience I'm looking into it and then not look into it. Basically, is what I'm saying. So
you already know how Blizzard operates by now.
I mean, I'm just
You're good at this.
I'm just letting you know what would happen. So I don't know if I'd do anything about Overseer. It's really good for demons, but it's more. I think if Amalgam was tier 3, you wouldn't be able to do that busted Overseer start. So then it would be more. Another thing I would do is I would make Soul Juggler demon. Right, so I'd buff a little bit of the other comps.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that change would fix a lot. In terms of like demons being, you can now buff Soul Juggler.
Yeah, I think that's a great change, actually. Because one of the problems is, if you're facing a demon comp, it's like all you have to do is get one zap, right? You get one zap and you neuter them.
Yep.
It's impossible. They are dead. That's even if they get to the end stage. And even when they do, it's sort of like it's just not powerful.
What can you do?
Yeah, what can you do with that?
I would probably move the beast down to tier 3. I'd probably move Shellraiser down to tier 2. I don't even know if that would help, but they shouldn't be in the pool for discovering.
What about Boogie?
Boogie, okay, so for Boogie, I would make their gain permanent, so it would transist the rounds. So if you kill a minion with it, then it would keep that stat gain.
That would still be terrible. You'd still need to move it down a row.
It would still be terrible, but you might pick it at some point. You might run it, for a little bit, and maybe it gets like, if you let's say you're playing Daryl, then you buff this thing, and now it's like a 20/20, right? Every turn is getting +2/+2. It's basically its own enforcer buff. Mm-hmm. Right, like that's kind of a thing,
And for the meta right now, there's tons of 1/1 mechs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, you can buff more than once in a game, like in a match, right? If you kill something and then it comes its turn again, and then you kill another thing, like let's say the Boogie monster is the only thing alive, and then like the Kobold Guardian that you kill summons a full board of mechs. You're just eating. You're just feeding. Oh my god, that's like a +6, +8 on itself. Like, oh, you're like, oh, thank you, thank you, my friend, for all of this food you've allowed me. So I think that change would be really interesting. So I would definitely do that. What else would I do? Would I remove? I would nerf Shredder. Maybe Shredder's a tier 5 unit, man. This thing is the weakest tier 6 unit in the game. Remove that thing. I would make it like a tier 5 or something. It's too weak. as a tier 6. The other ones are like actually and Kangar Apprentice. I don't know about it. It should maybe summon the strongest mechs that died this combat. Maybe not the first mechs, but like it summons like the summoning it does is like not very respectable. A lot of the times the mech you kill also like summons microbots and stuff,
Yep.
and then the Kangar summons like a amalgam and a microbot, and you're like, wow, that's a tier 6 unit right there. Not respectable. But if it was like the strongest minion that died, it might summon Foe Reapers, right? It might summon like a Sneeds. It'd be a little bit more controllable, right? Like same like if your junk bot gets sniped, it comes back as a 1/5. It's not that respectable, but if you had like a Cobalt Guardian that gets sniped, right? It's a 6-star. It has a 6 base that comes back. That's a little bit more respectable. So I'd probably change it to like the strongest 2 mechs that died. If it has the same attack base, then it'd just be random. So that'd also be a little change I'd make for that unit. Fesseruk Hulk, I don't think I would touch. Maybe I would give some stat buffs to the non-tribe units. So Bolvard probably like because these minions come from the regular game, so that's why they have the stats. But in this game, I think they don't have any like innate synergy. So I would probably
But
give
you're
them like
killing the soul of the card, Collins. You can't do that.
I don't care. I rip out their soul. Put them a new shiny soul. 3 more health. You won't feel a thing. Have 3 more health, Bulba Hulk. Have a little bit more health. The beast maybe. I don't know if I'd buff the. I'd move it to tier 3, and I maybe nerf it. It'd probably give like a 2/2 or something. I don't know. I'd give it.
Enjoyed all of my Bolvar games, although
Yeah,
typically
I think Bolvar is like nice. Actually.
Bolvar's
So
workable.
I don't know. I think that one's fine.
I played a Daryl Bolvar game, and it was one of
Me
the most
too.
enjoyable ones.
And
Yeah,
we won, and I won that one too.
Oh,
so,
you did? Nice.
Yeah. So,
That one was. Oh yeah, no, I saw that one. Chat was obviously very happy. They love Bolvar.
They do. They love Bolvar. They love Pogo. They love Lightfang, don't you guys? You love that one.
They love. It's like, well, time to go Lightfang, I guess. Lightfang isn't that good, but whatever.
So lucky, and then they leave. So lucky. They always do that.
The people leaves. Yeah. All right.
Those are my preliminary. I'll get back to you on all the other stuff.
I love it. All right. Excellent. So, Abokto, was there anything more you want to talk about Battlegrounds before we move to this?
No, let's move on to Arena. Collins,
Yeah.
have you seen this card? It's a dragon. It's common, and the Paladin's gonna get it. Called Amber Watcher.
I haven't seen anything.
Okay. I'm just gonna describe it to you. I'm not even gonna show this to you.
Live reactions from Collins.
Yeah, live reaction from Collins on this card. I'm just gonna describe what the card does. It's a common card, right? Normal.
Okay.
The 5 mana 4/6 dragon, right?
5 mana
4/6 dragon.
Okay,
Pretty normal.
Sure.
Battle
Whatever.
Cry. Restore 8 health.
To anything.
To
anything.
5 mana 4/6 dragon battle cry restore 8 health. Is that it? Is that the whole?
That's the whole card. That's the whole card. It doesn't also draw you 4 cards.
Well, that's pretty weak, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the weakest dragons we've seen so far.
Yeah, that was just the appetizer for some actual really good dragons.
That card is actually kind of strong, though. Let me be
honest. That card's insane.
Yeah.
What's the basic card or classic or whatever one that's like 6 mana and it's like
Guardian of Kings?
Yeah, what is Guardian of Kings? What does that thing do?
It heals 6. It's a 7 mana 5/6.
Oh, it's a 7 mana 5/6 that heals 6. Okay, this is 5 mana.
Only to your hero.
Oh god.
You can't target it anywhere.
And it doesn't have a dragon tag.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So
also doesn't have a dragon tag.
So yeah, this is where this set is going. Yeah, all the dragons are just so ridiculous, and all the dragon synergies are even more ridiculous.
There's tons of good neutral cards as well. So Collins, people have been saying that this is the expansion of power creep, and I can't say that they're wrong. There is tons and tons of powerful stuff. I know you love playing dragons in Arena, and you have to actively avoid dragons now, it seems, because everything that comes out is a dragon. The big sort of bomb at the end is Twin Tyrant, which is a common dragon, neutral, 8 mana, 4/10 dragon. So, Battle Cry.
Playable. Yeah, 8 mana.
Yeah,
4/10.
yeah. 8 mana, 4/10. Battle Cry, deal 4 damage to 2 random enemy minions. So, just a casual.
Super multi-shot it.
Repeat that one? Repeat
Yeah.
that?
Mini Flame Strike, super multi-shot. Just tag it on.
Yeah, so for 8 mana, you get a 4/10 dragon, and you also, deal a mini flame strike or a big multi-shot, however you want to view it, It's pretty good. Pretty good. Every class is
It's common.
now.
Neutral.
It's a common. Right.
Dragon.
Did I mention it's a dragon?
Jeez. That doesn't seem fair.
No, fair is not the theme that we're going for this expansion. All right. So this is a good time to ask. You're coming back to Arena, right? Like you're gonna disavow that.
I do what the viewers tell me. I'm a man of the people. If the people are saying Arena, because I've been streaming Arena for 5 years, of course, But the people have been
The people
telling
are
me.
okay, so we're never gonna see.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you in the Battlegrounds, Collins.
They've been telling me, "Hey, Collins, are you a streamer?" Like, oh yeah, I like this guy. Like, what? I've been here forever. So it's very weird.
Right. And for class cards, we literally have power creep on existing cards. For example, I'm going to point out the Hunter, which is a class I love. They are getting this card, Primordial Explorer. It's also a dragon. You might notice a theme. There are lots of dragons. 3 mana, 2/3 dragon, poisonous. So it's an Emperor Cobra.
Oh, it's a Cobra, yeah.
Right, which is pretty decent, right?
No. It's a
Battlecry.
Descent of Dragons Cobra.
Right. So Cobra is pretty good.
Yeah.
This is a poisonous dragon Cobra, essentially. But you're just going to add a
does
bit
it
of
have the
extra
beast
value.
tag, though?
It does not have the beast tag.
No,
It's only a dragon.
It doesn't have the beast tag. All it has is Battle Cry, discover a dragon.
So what you're saying is you're sacrificing the beast tag to get a dragon.
To discover a dragon in this dragon set. You gotta
don't
weigh
know,
the pros and
I don't
cons.
know.
Yeah.
That's a big drawback. You can't run it in your beast decks then, I don't know. I don't know, dude. You have to make a new dragon deck to incorporate this card. I don't know if
I know, and we're just not sure if dragons will actually be a thing yet.
Right? Could totally fail in this set of dragons with all these cards. New card that came out yesterday. Mage card, 1 mana, Arcane Breath. It's a spell. Deal 2 damage to a minion. Sound familiar so far.
Yeah.
A lot of cards do that. Then
discover a dragon? Don't tell me. Please don't.
Okay, this one's a little less ridiculous than the Cobra. Okay?
But
if you're holding a dragon, like you freaking should be, discover a spell.
Oh god. That's basically what I said, discover.
It basically is. But Collins, so
your design is what they wanted to go with, but then they're like, no, we have balance considerations, and so we're gonna print this card instead. That'll be balanced.
Between your I would consider it but actually not do anything and your kind of design philosophy, you're hired on the spot, right? This is send this podcast to Blizzard. Just tell them to give you the blank check right now. Holy hell. Yeah. This is what the expansion is like. So much powerful stuff. You are going to be able to make dragons. It's gotten people a little bit worried. So if you haven't been tuned in, people are obviously a little bit worried. And Arena has been in pretty rough shape. If you go look at Arena HS, a lot of people are calling it the worst Arena meta we've ever had. And I know people are a little bit excessive sometimes, and we've called quite a few of them it. But take it from myself and Adulta, who have played through many Arena metas. This is one of the worst. It's definitely not that fun. So I think people are really looking for something new, and then they see this and they're like,
It's
yikes.
new.
Don't worry,
It's
don't worry.
impactful.
This is a 5-head play from Blizzard,
Ooh,
right?
explain.
They have this new game. They're like, how do we get people to play this new game?
See, that's what I've been saying.
All right. I know what we'll do. All right. For Wild, let's run Snap Snip meta. Let's just keep that going. For Constructed, we'll evolve Shaman will last until, December 5th. For Wild, let's remove the bucket. Oh, are people complaining? You know what, guys? We've got this brand new game mode I'd like you to try. It's called Battlegrounds. Everybody get it. And you know what? People are like, guess I'll try. And look what happened. Huh? That's what's going on. I'm
working
just saying,
perfectly.
It's just a theory. It's just theory. When the expansion happens, oh look, buckets are back. Hey, oh look, we're adding this fancy new thing to Arena. Hey, look, the Evolved Shaman's gone. Hey, look, we're removing Snips now. Let's go. Just you wait, guys. Just you wait. It's all a part of the plan.
Ooh, my gosh, you guys! I mean, this is really tinfoil. Actually, I think there's a lot of there's like
they're
at least
making it
some
too
truth to this.
obvious.
Yeah, it's a little bit too obvious, right? It's so obvious. You're like, they can't be this obvious about it. But it's Blizzard, so they can, and they probably did. But you know what? At least everyone is having fun in Battlegrounds, right?
At least I am. As long as my tier 5 triple rolls correctly, I'm having lots of fun. If it doesn't, what is life?
Collins, it's great to hear that your mental stability and your outlook on life is purely dependent on you rolling Light Fang / Brang. That is healthy right there. I love it.
Just letting everyone know, help me.
All right, so all right. Since you have not kept up with a lot of the arena, I still want to ask you though, because Mike Dene and I think other members of Blizzard have talked about adding an MMR system or adding stats to the arena as well. And look, before you were a big shot in Battlegrounds, you have played Arena more than most people in the world ever will. What is your outlook for Arena? Like, what do you hope will happen? And also, what do you think will happen with the Arena? Because those could be two very different things.
I'm not really the type of person to think about that. I'm glad you are asking me. What do I hope will happen for Arena? It's really just like I want it to be like playable or people having fun playing the game, right? I think a lot of people like they're not really playing the game because they really love it and they really enjoy it. I remember when I first got into Arena, right? You just like you play and you play and you play and you play. You sleep for like 3 hours and you wake up and you're like, I just want to play some more, right? That's kind of
okay. That was you. That wasn't me, but
okay.
Sure.
Okay, at least that was me. that's how it always happens. Find like a really same thing with Battlegrounds, same thing with TFT. Like I just at least my mind like consumes the as much of the game as possible, and with the expansions and the cards, there's always like some type of issue that kind of it makes it hard to replicate that feeling, right? There's like some issue with the buckets, or there's some issue with the card quality, or there's some issue with the classes, right? There's always an issue that's making that balanced state unachievable, right? And it's very difficult because we figure out the problem quickly, and we make a Reddit post or something, and there's no change. Things don't happen. It's still the problem over and over, right? They'll add, and then sometimes they'll apply a fix, but that just creates a new problem that they created with the fix. Like they're like, oh, you forgot about fixing this card, there's this, like, and it's just like
your mind is consumed because you know the potential that it could be, and you realize that this is what you're gonna get, and there's not much hope for that. So I what I would like is that maybe they get another person in arena, maybe a little bit more of a hands-on person that plays constantly. It's you'd have to find a streamer or someone that plays enough to kind of understand the community consensus, right? Because I don't think they only see like the Reddit posts that make traction, right? They don't see like the day-to-day grind of the people that play, and what they're feeling and why they feel that way, right? And it would really take like someone whose job it is to kind of discover that and and write that down and keep track of that to really find out, okay, this is what the community at large that really value this game and stream it are saying, and this is what we can do in the near future, changes and improve the quality of arena for everybody, or at least the people that really spend the time there. So that's kind of the dream scenario. What do I think will happen? I don't know. I don't predict the future. I just have these conspiracies. What do I think will happen?
Well, right now, Arena's in the same level as Battlegrounds, right? It's in the same part of the submenu. People are active.
People might misclick and actually
so
click on
often.
Arena.
I'm sure they misclick.
I was really, really sad when Arena was gone from the menu and Tavern Brawl.
Oh my god, right?
That really tilted me. I was, what are you doing? But I don't know. Maybe that's like a sign of the times, really. I really don't know. Can you imagine if they switch Tavern Brawl and Battlegrounds?
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen.
Battlegrounds
I
was going to say, I'm like,
popular.
right now, Arena is right next to Battlegrounds, which is pretty prime real estate.
Yeah, can you imagine? You don't even have to click in modes for Battlegrounds. Yeah. It's just out there. It's just at the front. You got to go into that for Tavern Brawl. You're like, I guess so.
No, right, Blizzard right now has a problem. Like they have a clicking problem. It takes them one extra click for people to get to Battlegrounds, which is their newest and greatest thing. So once Battlegrounds gets out of beta, it's gonna get its own button. It's that good. It's that prominent. People like it that much. And I don't know. I don't know if like there may not be an arena button. Arena may go under with like the solo missions or wherever. Like it may not even be like people like Brawl too. Like you think this is bad right now for Arena? I see things getting worse, not better.
I'm waiting for the day in which, okay, like on the front page you have play constructed, you have Battlegrounds. At the very bottom, after you scroll a little bit, there's Tavern Brawl. And then to get to Arena, you have to queue up a constructed game, play Mozart on the Toad keyboard, and then enter your social security number, and then you can get into Arena, okay? Like, that is the level in which I am prepared.
Arena mode, unlocked by the Konami code in Hearthstone.
Yeah, basically. Right now, as it is, I'm like, it's not that bad to be right next to the most popular game mode. But it is sort of, it does show kind of what, how the reality of Arena. And I guess we shouldn't be surprised, right? We played this for 5 years at this point. We played this mode, and it's been sort of just upkeep and a lot of damage control. And I would say there's been a decent amount of good things that's happened to Arena over the years, but there's also been a lot of experimentation and some not so great things. And, we've always hoped that there would be more communication, more things done. So, yeah, I'm hoping for a lot. And I think it was almost unfair of me to ask you that question. It's like, what do you think will happen? Because you don't have much history to go on, right? Because not a lot has happened with the Arena. So you can't really take historical points from the past and be like, oh, all you need to do is extrapolate to the future, because not much has happened. So I don't know either. Like, whenever I ask guests questions, I always have a response. This is one in which I think about, I'm like, I really don't know either. And if Blizzard were to come out with an MMR system, if they were to come out with a full stats page or whatever, I'm like, does that actually move the needle? I don't think so. I think they need something a lot bigger. And I can kind of I have a huge wish list of things, but in terms of things that I actually think will happen, I don't think anything will happen because in the past 5 years, not much has happened.
Damn.
Damn, I know, I know.
That's how I got there, right?
But it is really fun. So let's loop this back a little bit. So what's been really, really fun, and what's excited me in the past 2 weeks is how excited everyone is about Hearthstone, and it's been because of Battlegrounds. But Collins, I have worked a lot in your stream. I've worked a lot in everyone's streams. And I would say that, for you, you just have this little bit of energy, recently because you are figuring out Battlegrounds, right? I know you are someone who likes learning. You like the climb up. No, you just like dominating? Sure.
Like, I mean, sure. You say your feel about me. I'll listen. I like learning. Yeah.
Yeah, learning. Yeah, the
Why
educated
not?
Collins is actually the educated part. That's a diversion, you know.
No. He likes being educated. He likes having already learned and already knowing. Not
Yes.
the learning, but the already knowing, so that
Oh,
he
so-
could go out and dominate.
Right, it's not educating or becoming educated.
Yes, it's not
Collins. It is
becoming educated.
Already.
Educated.
Already educated. But I think that is exciting. Seeing also like we mentioned Shady before, and I've been watching him, and it's like really interesting watching him learn. I have had a ton of fun learning and recognizing how much I still suck. So I think that's been great. And overall, because if we're talking about Arena and the health of Arena, it falls under the umbrella of the overall health of Hearthstone, right? And it's like, if you are hoping for the betterment of Arena, it doesn't help Arena if Hearthstone is failing. That's just one of those things. But I think people overlook that a lot of the time. They are just like, okay, I want Arena to succeed, but I actually don't care, or I don't even want Constructed to succeed. I want Arena to succeed. And that's not realistic, and that's just not helpful as well. So I think that for some people, because there are people in the community who are a little bit bitter, they see the success of Battlegrounds, they see good, honest Arena streamers such as yourself being stolen away by the vixen that is Battlegrounds, and they're a little bit angry at that. But I think the way to look at it is like, look, if Hearthstone recovers, or, quote unquote recovers, if Hearthstone does really, really well because of Battlegrounds, it is good for the game overall. And hopefully it trickles down to Arena. It might not, and that's based on the developers and their priorities. But I think we should all be really happy that the game is getting such a jolt. And content creators such as yourself, they're really excited and doing well because of it.
I wanted to say, you don't think this trickle down system works?
Well, okay, look,
but yes, I agree.
Realistically, I don't think the trickle down system will especially work with Arena. And if you're talking about trickle down when it comes to economics, let's not even get started there.
Misclicks, though. The misclicks.
That was just the one thing. But yeah, I do. It is enjoyable to be able to see growth like in the channel and things like that due to, because you've been playing Blizzard games, right, for most of the stream, Hearthstone and stuff, and it's nice to still see that Blizzard is alive. Like people still like watching Blizzard games. People still like enjoying and learning about new metas and things like that. So it's just it's really helpful. That there is potential for the future and things like that. That you can see that it's not just okay. Hearthstone is just gradually dying. There is with changes and with Blizzard influence and activities, right? You can see big jumps and things like that. So it's a nice like thing to keep in the back of your mind and say, okay, there is hope for the future, and I do appreciate that.
I think that's good. Adukta, did you have anything that you wanted to ask before I go into question from the goat?
No, go into the question from the goat. It's been all very educational for me on the Battlegrounds side.
Very educational. So, Collins, I was hoping for a question from the GOAT to have chat learn a little bit more about you, outside of your stellar gameplay. And one thing is the people that watch your streams, I think one of the first things they'll notice is your very interesting songs, right? You play songs from a lot of different cultures, songs that people might not hear on other streams. And the question I had for you is sort of what are like three, give chat and give our audience three recommendations for songs from other cultures that they might not listen to on a normal basis, but you really like. All right, expand our minds here.
Well, that is a tough question. I should have read this, right? I should have been prepared for this question.
You can give us genres as well. You know, if you really like sort of I don't know, Slovenian polka dance or something. I don't even know if that exists. But
of course it exists, Merps.
Yeah, of course it exists.
Oh, okay, sorry. For the uncultured swine such as myself, I did not know that. But I think this would be interesting because you are one of the only streamers, I think, that plays some types of music, right? Like we have a lot of streamers which they'll play kind of the modern EDM, they'll play classic rock, they'll play all of this stuff. And you do too. You know, you'll hear a lot of sort of classic rock. You'll hear Michael Jackson, for instance. You'll bop to it, but you also play like sort of traditional Russian music, as I've heard on your stream. So give us a few recommendations for off the beaten path music that you like.
I think it's not like, for me, it's not like recommendations of off the beaten path. It's more, for me, it's just I have a lot of like different cultures in my stream, right? Just because I kind of streamed in like a European time. At least that's what they always tell me. So I get like a lot of Russian viewers, a lot of Polish viewers, you know, Belgium, all these cultures, and they all have like their own recommendations of music and things like that, right? They'll have like, oh, have you listened to this? Have you listened to that? Blah, right? I actually take the time to go and listen to some of it, you know? Oh, and you come to understand, oh, this is pretty good. This is actually pretty good kind of stuff. So it's not that I'm like looking for particularly unique or interesting music. It's that I'm open to discovering like the music selection of different cultures around the world. And if I like it enough, I will add it into my, you know, my playlist, my collection, right? And then also like adding like one type of that song, right? It opens up a whole world of music that is now just completely open to you, that was never discovered because of this like one particular song, right? Now you're getting recommendations about different songs that you can add in, right? So having all these like different music, it allows me to find much more unique things a lot easier, because this, they're recommending this because of that, they're recommending this because of that, they're all pretty good, you know. And it's just being open to like learning about different cultures and things like that. And it's just that mindset. It's not specifically, oh, I love, you know, jazz, and if you put a little bit of jazz into your Russian tunes, oh, you see me popping a lot, which is probably true. Like if you actually do want to do that, that's probably a good idea. But it's just like I am open to listening to these different types of music and learning about, you know, the culture within that music, and if it's good and that kind of thing. So can't really give you any, like, I love smooth jazz, I love sounds, that kind of thing, right?
Oh,
So
I know.
I know everyone knows. Of course, but you know, so like if I were to recommend stuff, I would recommend stuff with that in it, right? But in terms of like the unique cultures and music from around the world, that's just me hearing those sounds and and me, you know, wanting to hear more, and then, you know, adding it into my little playlist, and then like being available and open to learning for more about that kind of culture. So I just think it's a nice little change of pace from the, you know, the day-to-day blah 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 hip hop and pop that you hear everywhere.
I think it is good. You definitely provide a very sort of unique auditory experience in addition to high level gameplay. So, anyways, I think that's it for all the questions that I had. And speaking of your stream, Collins, now's the time to plug everything. If people want to see high level gameplay,
not
if
doing
they
that.
want to hear the interesting music that you got, where do they find you, man?
Who knows? Look for it yourself, right? I think I've been doing well. I don't need
plug this.
Just go on Twitch and type in
you-
best
if
Battleground
If you
streamer.
wanna find it, you do it yourself. It's not my job, dude. I want the people that want to be there. I don't want to just begrudgingly join my channel because I tell you to. If you want to be there, you'll be there. I can't stop you, so I'm not telling you.
All right, so I highly recommend all of you guys go to twitch.tv/educated_Collins and watch Collins. You will certainly be immersed in cultural music, and you might pull yourself up from the dumpster ranks that you're in. But of course, by no fault of your own. It's just RNG. All right, so that's it. Thank you, Collins, for coming on. This has been not only educational, but actually tons of fun. All right, just ranting about.
It's always fun with you guys.
Oh my god, you just bring such an energy. I don't know how your camera is still intact from all the shaking that you do from your gesturing. It's pretty insane.
If you guys are listening to this on the podcast, every time Collins gets excited, his entire camera is shaking because I assume his gesturing is affecting his table in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, probably. It's bad.
But yeah.
All right, anyways, Collins, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great. Congratulations once again on all the success.
Before we end this podcast, I want to give a plug to our next podcast, which is coming up next Sunday, where we dig into these tier list scores that we have for this dead game mode called Arena. And this is still going on. We're not abandoning the Arena by a long shot, and we'll both me and Mervs will be streaming a bunch of Arena when the expansion releases. So the pre-expansion tier list valuation stream is still on. It is still Sunday. It is still starting 1 hour earlier than the podcast usually starts. So that's 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we look forward to having all of you guys there, or to listen on the Lightforge next week.
Cool. All right, that's it. Take us away, Adwicta.
All right. Until then, until next week, this is Adwicta.
This is Merps.
And this is Collins, I guess. I've never done that, but sure.
Bye.
You heard it. Collins is committed to come here with us next week. Bye.